Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing great today. This is Palm Sunday, so I do want to celebrate that. But I'm coming to you. I'm not going to be here long. I wanted to talk about Donald Trump. Allegedly, and I am saying allegedly, he has threatened the judge who is overseeing his case on Tuesday, the DA, and he's threatened the DA's wife. I I want to play a clip and then I'm gonna come back um, and share my thoughts as usual. So let me see if I can share this. Okay, and let's.
A swipe against Alvin Bragg's wife. That's the Manhattan District Attorney. Now, he did this as he's awaiting arraignment in the trial being prosecuted by Alvin Bragg. So, what impact could this have? And is it more likely that we could see a gag order against Trump now?
Yeah, this is really interesting and it's getting into dangerous territory because when you look at these reposts, right? A journalist found some information about Alvin Bragg's wife posting that, Donald Trump is a racist. Donald Trump should be held accountable for his crimes, not exactly, late breaking news to anyone.
Right.
But after the reporter posted this information about Bragg's wife, Donald Trump started reposting it. Now, there's nothing in it in and of itself that would constitute a threat or that arguably would be improper. But we know Donald Trump's MO. He starts to put names in the public square, and the signal he is sending is that this person is a problem to me. What does that inspire some of his followers, the least among his followers to do? Well, we know it can incite them to violence. So he knows. He hasn't done anything that is directly actionable yet, but boy, he's sending dangerous signal. And, he's got priors. He's done this kind of thing before. So I think all of this now may become sort of fodder for discussion at Donald Trump's first court appearance.
How does this work in the sense that what he did may not in and of itself be a crime, but how do the circumstances play into this? Is there some degree of circumstantial evidence that could show that what he was trying to do by virtue of, doing something that's not necessarily in and of itself a crime, but where the intention is to cause her violence? Does that have any impact here?
The First Amendment does come into play here, right? The First Amendment protections are broad, are sweeping, and that's precisely the way we want them to be. The problem is when you have a guy like Trump who has demonstrated a pattern, throw names into the public square, hoping that it inspires something that will then inure to his benefit, and may inure the danger of the person he's naming, it becomes a really murky area. What can a judge do to try to push back or perhaps put a gag order in place to direct the defendant, stop posting about the prosecutor's family? I think that's fair game, even though I'll tell you, Brian, in my 30 years, I never encountered this kind of stuff that we're now seeing with Donald Trump. Certainly, I never encountered it with a public official like Donald Trump. There were circumstances when we thought people were saying some things that might endanger a witness in the case, but this is Donald Trump taking it to a whole nother level. So, I think this arraignment hearing coming up for Trump is going to be unlike one we've ever seen before because of the novel issues that the prosecutor, the defense attorney, and the judge are going to have to wrestle with.
Well, with that said, you mentioned the judge in this case. Donald Trump also attacked the judge online. What impact could that have then?
Yeah, this is a really interesting development because Donald Trump posted something about Judge Marchand, who is the presiding judge. In his case, he was also the presiding judge in the criminal prosecution of the Trump Organization, a case in which Alan Weisselberg, Donald Trump's chief financial officer, testified for the prosecution, even though Alan Weisselberg was no friend of the prosecution. He kind of had one foot in the DA's office and one foot in the Trump Organization. So Donald Trump posted about Judge Marchand the following. He said, Judge Marchand hates me. That's obviously a lie. He said, Alvin Bragg handpicked Judge Marchand to be the presiding judge in Trump's criminal prosecution. That's a lie. That's not the way judges are assigned to cases. And he said, and Judge Marchand railroaded Alan Weisselberg, my chief financial officer, into pleading guilty by basically threatening him. Again, another lie. So I am certain this is going to become the topic of discussion at Donald Trump's arraignment. You know, you cannot make these wild, outrageous lies, throw them into the public square, and hope that they sort of blow up and poison the jury well. So there's something called recusal, right? When a judge has an interest in a case, he or she is supposed to recuse themselves, remove themselves from the case. If you have, for example, a family member involved in a case, well, then you as the judge can't preside over that case. If you have a financial interest involving one of the parties in the case, the judge can't preside over that kind of a case. It feels like Donald Trump is trying to tell so many inflammatory lies about Judge Marchand that he's hoping maybe Judge Marchand will remove himself, will have to recuse from the case. But here's the thing. Defendants don't get to orchestrate their judge. Think about it. If a defendant could make outrageous lies about a judge, and then that judge was ethically obligated to remove himself from the case and have a new judge appointed, well, wouldn't that just inspire defendants to engage in precisely this kind of conduct? But here's what it might do, Brian. I think these lies, this disinformation, this propaganda, you know, really designed to turn the people against Judge Marchand and against the prosecution, I think ups the ante that Judge Marchand will impose a gag order, will impose some kind of a narrowly tailored set of restrictions, the do's and don'ts of Donald Trump's speech and Donald Trump's posts. I frankly think it's essential at this point, because if you let it go unaddressed, the way we've let so many other things Donald Trump has done go unaddressed, it's going to get worse, more inflammatory, more inciting, and more dangerous.
Well, that of course raises the question, what happens if and when Donald Trump breaks any gag order that was imposed upon him? What are the consequences of that?
So the judge better not flinch. When a judge sets conditions for a defendant and the defendant intentionally violates those conditions, the judge has every right, indeed every responsibility, to then ratchet up the conditions. And the ultimate in a pretrial condition is pretrial detention, jailing a defendant pending trial because the defendant has proved they're unwilling to comply with lesser restrictions designed to promote public safety and give the people a right to a fair trial. Now, listen, a defendant does not have a right to poison the jury pool because the defendant has a right to a fair trial, but the people also have a right to a fair trial.
Okay, now I want to skip ahead a little bit here, and this is a question that I've been throwing around with myself, and it's skipping a bunch of steps, but game this one out with me. What happens if Trump is incarcerated at any point in this process, not necessarily just for the Manhattan DA's case, but just in any of these cases that are bearing down on him? What happens with the Secret Service? Like if Trump is incarcerated, given that they have to be with him at all times, do they get locked up with him?
You know, it's a great question. And the thing is, because it's unprecedented, because these are uncharted waters, no one can answer that question definitively. Now, I've poked around with some of my friends at the Bureau of Prisons and the U.S. Marshal Service, and here is the best answer that I can come up with. And I think it's a leading contender. So, you know, I put a lot of defendants in secure confinement facilities because they were cooperators. You know, I had a hitman who killed 7 people for a criminal organization, and that hitman flipped and testified for us. And we had to keep that hitman safe pending trial, but we obviously also had to keep that hitman locked up. So there are facilities, I won't name them or say where they are. There are facilities in the United States that are designed to house only cooperating witnesses, where, you know, somebody who is in extreme danger because of the assistance he's providing to the government can also be confined safely. There's no reason that that can't be done for Donald Trump. I could envision if a former president of the United States is ordered confined, is sentenced to prison, I could see them actually housing him in one of these facilities and housing only him keeping all other inmates in other facilities. Here's the other thing that I've learned in talking with some of my colleagues and former colleagues at the Bureau of Prisons and the Marshal Service. It may very well be that the Secret Service will enter into a memorandum of understanding with BOP, the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and the U.S. Marshal Service, which is the agency that handles long-term witness protection issues, to turn over the security detail and the security duties of a former president from the Secret Service to the BOP and the U.S. Marshals, and arrange for this unprecedented situation to be handled that way.
Got it. Because the flip side of that is, like, imagine being the poor sucker who spent his whole life working his way up to be on the presidential detail in the Secret Service, and you end up sitting in a prison cell with the guy because he couldn't not commit crimes.
Not going to happen. They are not going to subject Secret Service officers to, 8-hour shifts in a Federal Bureau of Prisons facility. I do not see that happening.
Yeah. All right. Well, obviously that's something that we'll keep a close eye on. For anybody watching, to keep on top of all of this legal news, whether it's in the Manhattan DA's case or any other case that we're contending with right now, make sure to follow both of our channels. The links are right here on the screen. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen.
And I'm Glenn Kirshner.
You're watching The Legal Breakdown.
Wow. Hey, how you doing? Brooklyn Squad is in the house. I'm not going to be on here long, but I do appreciate you coming in and hit my like button. What I do want to say is that I commend these gentlemen for coming on and explaining that the judge need to put a gag order on Donald Trump in order to keep these witnesses. He's threatened the judge. He's threatened the DA and his wife. He's threatened Stormy Daniels, allegedly, and probably Karen McDougal. I think that's her name. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I do know he's threatened her as well. Or allegedly, she could be in danger. I feel like the judge need to make these people safe. I do know that they do have, what do they call it when they put people in hiding so that nobody could harm them. And I feel like the judge needs to put something in place that these people are safe, that even Michael Cohen, the attorney who went to jail behind Trump. Everybody needs to be protected if they need that. Because with Donald Trump out here running his mouth too much, there are people out here with hate in their hearts that may try to harm these people. And the DA's wife, I mean, gosh, she hadn't done anything wrong. Why would you put her name and stuff out for somebody to try to harm her? I do know I seen on CNN where Stormy Daniels had said she was in fear for her life. That before they were just talking about, calling her a hoe or a slut or a prostitute or whatever. But now they're talking about killing her. And my heart went out for her. She has a right to say what happened. She has a right for that. Ex-president allegedly he did play a role in paying her $130,000 as hush money. And at the time, she called herself an adult film actress. And this was in 2016. Michael Cohen paid that money And I think what people are failing to realize is what's really going on in the case. Um, Michael Cohen paid Stormy Daniels, and then the other young lady was paid by somebody else. They had called their name in the tape. She was paid 150,000, and they were both what you call ladies of the night. They have a right to come in court and say what happened, and that's what I don't know what the indictment charges are. I do know that they are 30 to 33 charges against him, and we'll know more about that on Tuesday. From my knowledge, they're going to have cameras in there where everybody could see. I don't think nobody would be allowed to come in, but you will be allowed to view the cameras. And we'll see what the 30 counts are. Nobody knows what they are. So my thing is, please don't go out there. If you're going to go out and protest, protest, but don't get in no trouble, because they do have Secret Service out there, and they don't mind killing somebody. It's not worth it. Don't go out there and think that it's going to be like January the 6th on the insurrection. It's not going to be like that. Uh, Trump has so many charges coming against him right now. Even on that, they're trying to bring charges against him. Don't go out there and get in trouble. It's not worth it. Because, like I said before, I'm going to say it all day long. Half of y'all do not know Trump personal. He's not going to get you an attorney to get you out of trouble. He's not going to pay your bail to get you out of trouble. And it's not worth going to jail doing time for him, especially if you got families. Your families need you on the outside, and they don't mind locking you up. Is it worth it? No, it's not worth it. Don't get so caught up in the political that you go out here and commit a crime. And that's for anybody. If you're going to protest, that's your choice. But I do say be safe about it. Don't go out here getting in no trouble. It's not worth it. Keep in your mind that all them people that got in trouble on the 6th at the Capitol, all them people that they could identify are serving time. They're in jail 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Is it worth it? No, it ain't worth it. Because Donald Trump has not paid one dime to get these people out of jail. He has not paid one dime for an attorney for them. It's not worth it. Don't go get in no trouble. It's just not worth it. We don't know what the charges are. We don't know what the counts are until Tuesday. And so I'm quite sure everybody would be glued to their TV on Tuesday trying to see what the criminal charges are. But for him to be out here allegedly putting threats against the judge, that is not cool. Please do not go out here and threaten a judge or a DA or their families, because Donald Trump may be thinking he's getting away with it, but I promise you, you're not going to get away with it. That is against the law. You cannot threaten a public figure. It's against the law. I don't understand what he's doing. I guess allegedly he's not going to touch him, but he wants somebody else to go and do it. Don't go get in no trouble for Donald Trump. It's not worth it. I do hope that the government will step in and see that these people are safe who are being threatened if they feel like their life is in danger. So I do hope that. Especially Stormy Daniels, when she says she's getting a lot of threats. And she just coming out telling the truth. You can't kill somebody for telling the truth. If Donald Trump is wrong, then Donald Trump needs to pay the price just like everybody else who go to jail that are guilty. If he did something wrong, he is not above the law. He should be able to have his day in court, not threaten nobody. He's going to be in a jury of his peers. And if he's found guilty, then he should do the time just like Michael Cohen did, his attorney did. He went to jail for Donald Trump. And he's, but he's been speaking out. He went to jail for paying these porn stars. And I don't know what all the charges are against Donald Trump. Paying the porn stars did not get Donald Trump in trouble. What got him in trouble is that he said they were legal fees. And I guess this got something to do with business transactions. So, and they are charging him. What all they're charging him with, I have no clue. I'm just like y'all, we are no Tuesday. But I just say, be safe. At least we've learned something tonight, or I did when I heard the gentleman talking about what could happen. So hopefully the judge will put a gag order on him, especially when he is threatening the judge life. I have never heard nothing like this in my life. That you out here threatening the judge and DA. This is ridiculous. I've just never heard of that. Please don't go out and do that. I just want to pass that along. Your family needs you, and it's not worth it. It's just not worth it going to jail behind somebody that you don't even know, and they could care less about you. They ain't paying none of your bills. They ain't gonna pay for no lawyer. You be caught up in a bunch of trouble that you don't need to be in, and it's not worth it. All right, I'm gonna leave it there, and I hope everybody is safe. I hope the people that he is threatening have enough security around them where they are safe. And I guess we'll find out what happens on Tuesday. I enjoyed coming in tonight, uh, and I enjoyed everybody's company. Leave a comment, hit the like button, and I enjoy reading your comments. So definitely leave me a comment. Let me know how you feel about it. Um, I look forward to that. Have a great day, and thank you for tuning in.